Welcome to the Parenting Lab podcast. I'm your parent coach, Brittany, and I am here to guide you into the calm, clarity, and connection you're looking for as you transform your parenting from the inside out. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Parenting Lab. Today I want to talk to you about something that on and off over the years has kind of weighed on my heart, and I'm wondering if at some point it may have been on your mind as well. And this is a simple but honestly a little bit complex question. Who are your people? Who walks beside you in your parenting journey? Who do you call when you're overwhelmed or unsure, or just need someone to witness what you're carrying? If that question makes you feel a little bit sad or maybe even a little ashamed because the answer is no one, I want you to know that you are not alone. In fact, that's the whole reason why I want to have this conversation with you today. Throughout human history, parenting was not ever intended to be a solo job. Children were raised by villages, grandparents, aunties, older siblings, neighbors, and faith communities. In many cultures, even today, there's no separation between my child and our child. But here in modern Western culture, we've moved towards independence at all costs. We glorify self-reliance, and in doing so, we've sort of traded in our sense of community for convenience, independence, and individualism. We're now living in the most isolated parenting generation in history. And while this idea of taking a village still floats around in memes and quotes, the reality is many of us are parenting behind closed doors, and we're silently wondering if we're the only ones finding it hard. Well, I can promise you that we are not. It was just a few years ago when both of my kids were in their early teens, and I felt like my support system had completely bottomed out. All of a sudden, here I was with these kids that had really complicated emotional and hormonal shifts happening, and I was being triggered in new and really intense ways that I didn't understand at the time. And I don't know if you've noticed, but there's an absolute ton of information on raising little kids, like babies and toddlers. But there's a real void in resources for parents of teenagers. Most of our friends weren't quite in this phase yet, and I felt like I was drowning. For me, this is where my healing work really began, because I realized that I was going to have to figure some things out, or the dynamic that was happening in my family was going to implode. So I went back to school. I expanded my network into a group of women that were walking this path with me, and I looked beyond my neighborhood for real, edifying relationships. And in that phase of my life and my parenting, my village started to look very, very different. It was no longer the playdates and girls' nights that had sustained me through my early years of parenting, but it was emotionally and intellectually engaging and filled with people, many of whom I still have never met in person, that supported me in my healing and transformative, I guess you could call it a seeking. My struggles had evolved, and so my village needed to evolve with me. So what do villages look like now? If the old model of a physical village isn't always accessible, what does a village actually look like today? Your village might include a trusted friend that you text when the day is going sideways. It might be a therapist or a coach who helps you process your triggers. Your partner if you're parenting together. Maybe an online parenting community where you feel seen and understood. Your mom group, your siblings, your child's teacher, your faith community, your neighbor, your book club. Right? Villages can be in-person and virtual. They can be family and chosen family. They can include peers and professionals. And the shape of your village can change depending on your child's age and this is the key part, and your own healing and growth. Okay? The truth is your needs, just like mine, shift as you evolve. What you need when you're navigating sleep training is not the same as what you're going to need when you're parenting a teenager or grieving an empty nest. Your people will weave in and out of your life, and that's so normal. That's really human. Now, let's be real, because not everyone that you love will make your parenting easier. Okay? Some people, even the well-meaning ones, can add stress and shame and confusion. So part of building your village isn't just about collecting people. It's really about curating the right ones. This is one of my very favorite words because it really means that we're being intentional, discerning, and very, very particular about who we are selecting to be our people. So think about it like this. Who helps you feel more regulated, more grounded, and more like yourself when you talk to them? Who listens without judgment? Who really understands and gets the kind of parent that you are trying to be? These are the people who belong in your village. And just as a very gentle reminder, you are allowed to have boundaries with the people who drain you, even if they're family. And you are allowed to seek out and invite in new people who align with your values. Okay, that might be a whole different episode. We can talk about that later. But please keep that in your mind and heart as you go about curating these relationships. I remember being in my first coaching certification program and feeling so completely that I was in the right space, in the right place, and that these might just be my people. Women who felt called to the same purpose as me and who were engaged in this really important work. We were put into partnerships with other members of our cohort to practice our skills and really dig into the curriculum, and I loved it. But what I didn't expect at the time was just how significant those relationships would turn out to be for me during that time. It was a very raw and difficult time for me in my own parenting and processing some of the other things that I'd been kind of holding on to. And these women were honestly heaven sent. Shout out to Jackie and Candace. Without them, even though they were from different parts of the country and I never did meet them in person, with them I could be honest and real and show my emotions and speak my truth in ways that I never could before. Their friendship and support was an absolute necessary part of my growth and in becoming the mom that I am today, and I still count them as part of my village. But there's one more piece to this puzzle, and I think that this is a really important part, okay? And it's your own vulnerability. Friends, you cannot build a meaningful village if you're hiding. I totally get it. Vulnerability is scary, but people can't support you if they don't know what you're carrying. So many of us feel like we have to show up as the together parent, the one who never loses it, who never doubts, who never cries in the bathroom. But you don't connect through perfection. You connect through truth, honesty, real, raw, unedited. Okay? You have to let your people see the mess sometimes. Let them witness your questions and your cracks and your courage. Let them celebrate your growth and grieve with you when things are just hit the fan, when things just get really hard. The stronger your village, the safer your nervous system feels. And the more regulated you are, the more connected you can feel with your children. Okay, so let's make this practical. If you're listening and thinking, well, yeah, it sounds nice, but I just don't have anyone, here's a few tips on where to start. Okay, 1. Just start with 1. You don't need 10 people. You need one safe and steady person. Ask yourself who feels safe, who feels good to be around. Okay, that might be your partner, a best friend, someone that's already in your circle. All right, but really, really think about who that one person could be. 2, be brave enough to go first. Sometimes we're all waiting for the other person to reach out, but take the risk, send the text, ask for the coffee date, the girls' night out, the play date, anything like that. Join the support group, okay? You just go first. Number 3, get really, really clear on your values. This is huge. What kind of parent are you trying to be? And who in your life is aligning with that vision? Surround yourself with people who reinforce that, not shame it, right? 4, don't underestimate online connection. Yes, we need in-person support too, but online communities can offer a powerful sense of belonging. So find spaces where people are speaking the same language that you're speaking, okay? Where parenting is approached with curiosity and compassion and care. Share the post, make the comment, and see where it leads you. And 5, give what you want to receive. Be the village for someone else. That's how it begins sometimes. When you show up for someone else, then they show up for you. So, we are not meant to do this alone. Parenting is too tender and too stretching, too important to carry in silence. So today my invitation to you is to ask this question again. Who are your people? And if you're still building that village, let this episode be a reminder that it's not too late. You can begin today with a small act of courage, a single text, a new space where you're truly seen. Just let yourself be held in where you are right now. Let yourself belong in the spaces that you want to belong in. Because when we find our people, we don't just parent better, we actually become better, more whole and more human and more connected. Okay? So thank you so much for being here in this community, in this village. Okay? Thanks for being part of my village. Reach out to me if I can be a part of yours. We need each other, and I'm so glad I get to walk this path with you. So until next time, I hope you'll join me again when we explore the art and science of parenting and put your parenting to the test. Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to the Parenting Lab podcast. For our complete catalog of online courses, free resources, or to join our mailing list, please visit theparentinglab.org. See you next time.